Your Memory Playlist, episode 9, is all about an album I played on my Discman until I couldn't play it anymore. I know, I'm old. I mentioned a Discman and I loved it. Do you have an album like that, deeply ingrained in your DNA? I learned the title track of Basement Apartment on my guitar. It was my only one-liner, the only way I knew how to hit on guys. Super lame. I know how to play guitar. I learned more after that, don't worry, but that was my first one. And I sang each song with great big feels, especially along the Coquihalla and the Yellowhead Highway, as I stuck my thumb out to get from one province to another. This memory is all about hitchhiking and listening to Sarah Harmer's You Were Here, released in 2000. My first big hitchhiking trip was from Vancouver to Edmonton. It was with a friend I no longer have, but really appreciated and needed at that time. So I hope I was that for him too. My next trip, or trips, were within Vancouver in the summer of 2001. I was a UBC student and the buses were on strike for a third of the year. Now, I lived in East Van, and to get to Kits, anywhere near UBC, it was hard. I tried biking from work. I worked on Granville and Smythe at Gresham's Barbecue and Bakery. And even biking from there was a lot. So I stuck on my Discman, stuck my thumb out, and I got to UBC. I graduated that course. It was only one course. I completed it, but my parents still loathe me for the poor decision making. But when you're 20, risky behavior is just regular behavior. And then there's the trip from Edmonton to Victoria in 2002. This one was with my partner at the time, Ethan. Someone who I'm still friends with today. He loved this album just as much as I did and sang along with me on our trips. I suppose the songs Hideout and Capsized remind me of the emotions we went through as a couple while Ethan was transitioning. It was a tough time loving someone who was morphing right before your eyes. You know it's for the best, but you also know that your paths are about to take different directions. Coffee Stain put into song this exact situation for me. And the track Lodestar made me feel like I could breathe again, especially at the 3-minute and 9-second mark when the cello comes in. So incredibly visceral. So something happens when you are on the road with no schedule, no phone, complete uncertainty ahead, relying on strangers and your two legs, long stretches of road ahead. Your mind goes through a bit of a roller coaster, or at least mine did. Each trip. Sarah Harmer had incredibly high expectations for You Were Here, this self-financed, self-released gem on her own Cold Snap Records label, before it was licensed to Zoe Records and then Universal Music Canada. Harmer had her own roller coaster ride, creating the album. And this can be seen in the title track, which is tributed to her late band member, Joe Chithallen. You Were Here was named 24th greatest album of all time on Bob Mercer's 2007 book, The Top 100 Canadian Albums. Time ranked You Were Here in its year-end top 10 list, calling it the best debut album. You need to give this album a go. I recommend it while walking, but that seems to be the only thing I did in BC. Wish I had a pedometer. Also, stellar album for car rides, or when you're crying alone in bed, or as an adult, if you enter data at your work, play it at your desk. So what album helped you ground yourself when life got super loud? I would love for you to share. Comment below. And this episode goes out to you, Eth. Peace.